Oh, there's Geno.
There he is.
Are you here?
I'm here. How do I sound? Because I'm going to be honest, like my favorite way to do morning things is just this on my phone. I'm sitting in the kitchen by the exhaust fan so I can enjoy a cigar. Sorry I got here late. I was literally watching you guys for the past half hour bullshitting on my fucking phone like an 8th grade girl, and I lost track of time. But I don't think you needed me that badly, so I'm not that worried. How the fuck are you two today?
It was fine. We're very good. And don't worry about acting like an 8th grade girl. April is one.
Yeah.
So
a little old for my blood, but yeah, whatever works for you, buddy.
Well, yours just turned 30 from what I'm hearing, so you got to go shopping pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do. They grow them so fast. You got to treasure these times, Aaron.
I know. It feels like just yesterday I was taking the wheels off her bike, and now
I've got 2
Is that
years
code
left.
or something? Because I could call back if you turn
No. It's just you take the training wheels off one day, and then all of a sudden she got a blown out shit cutter the next. It's like they grow up so fast.
It's over. I've got 2 years left here.
2 years. Well,
2 years.
Wow, somebody's a little presumptuous. Okay. Wait until we get to 15,000 subs, then we'll see what your value is. All right, Geno Bisconte, everybody, in hot water Monday through Thursday. Now, I have to always go Central Time, 1 to 3 Central Time, 2 to 4 Eastern Time on Compound Media, compoundmedia.com, of course, Anthony Cumia's network. Your show has gone through a bit of a facelift in the last year or so.
A literal one as well, with the broken jaw.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
You put that out there on purpose. You're very good at what you do. You're setting me up. That's what a good host does. I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy.
Oh, if you don't think this interview is getting, what do you call it? Not segregated. Oh, my God. I got that on the brain. Clipped out and then uploaded. Yeah, of course. Geno, you're a star, for God's sake. You're a heat magnet. You got to put you out there individually.
Well, I mean, I love, we talked about this on the Content House, and that was obvious. My girl said that. She's like, that was one of my favorite parts. It was like the last night we thought we were done. We ended up bullshitting with you guys for a fucking nearly an hour. That was a great time. But yeah, it's neat how how you fucking get to where you get, so to speak. And I love that we're fucking hanging out now, because I'm realizing you're a lot like me, and you just want a seamless life. There is so much that, circling back to the 8th grade girl Twitter thing, there's so many comics. And I mean older ones now, older than me. I know. Lie down, April. Old, and they think Twitter is real, and they get caught up in it when really, at the end of the day, and I get this about you guys, and tell me if I'm wrong. You just want to do your show, have fun on your show, and then go live your fucking life and come back. And people don't get that. They're like, no, I need to. Since I talked to Aaron and April on Twitter, we are dear friends, and I'll tweet them. And one of your fans, when you said I was going to be on, and I follow him on Twitter, he's like, I hate you, and you're like, okay, well, don't watch that episode.
Yes,
don't look at that.
And you're like me, and you're like, and thanks so much for watching all the other episodes, but it's everything you both can do to say, we're not friends, buddy. You're a fan of mine, and I love you for it, but I'm not sitting here saying, let me check and see what Twitter thinks of this move. It's hilarious how a lot of people have let that become their life rather than realizing this is just a part of the shit we do, and we love it.
Well, and I think for some of them, I think it's part of the gig too. For them, it's part of the fun. Is they want to, they want to get a joke in, or they want to shit on you, or they want it's their way of feeling like they're a part of it.
Without a doubt. Sorry about that. Without a doubt. But at one point, and maybe look, obviously you're better than me, but maybe you're better at me than this, because it's I don't see it sometimes. Why are you writing this? There's one troll on Twitter right now that is just saying bizarre lies about me. And I'm like, okay, 3 people fucking like this tweet, but it becomes all the conspiracy theory shit when I'm saying, why would you make this up? Why would you make up the laptop? Why would you make up that he was making, millions of dollars, Hunter Biden, for being an energy consultant when he knows nothing about energy in the Ukraine, where he doesn't speak Russian or Ukrainian or whatever fucking. A year ago, I thought they spoke Irish in Ireland. I'm stupid, but whatever they speak, it's the same thing. It's why would you go out of your way to make this stuff up on Twitter? And you're like, nah, they're just having fun. You're a better person than me, because I don't think
I will say this. I wanted to talk to you about this while you were here, because, it's not like Kevin Brennan saying it to you. It's me, so your guard can be down a little bit. Yes. I think you got to let some of these people go, because I'm telling you, like, I look at some of them, and the one you talked about on your show yesterday and all that stuff. I think, like, you doing, like, the stuff on the show about him and stuff, that kind of fuels him. He likes that. There's this thing on Twitter called the mute button. And if you just mute those guys, they don't exist.
Did you find a button that's called amplify? Because that's the one I hit.
I know.
Yeah,
Me telling you not to do something, I understand, is not going to help.
No, in my defense, and you can go back and watch, it was 3 weeks ago on the show. It was a Tuesday. I'll never forget that because one of our fans made a playlist. Actually, Kiana made the playlist to make fun of me, but I opened the show by saying it ends tonight, right? And I started quoting that song by whichever that fucking emo band is, and I'm like, it ends, we're done. And I stopped talking. I really did stop talking about them. I did. And I don't fucking touch them on Twitter. But when you cut off their oxygen, I don't mean to brag, but I've been the topic of the last 10 Kevin Brennan podcasts, and I know we're giving them oxygen now, but I haven't talked about them. Yeah. And then I made the mistake last Thursday of having Bob Levy on, a dear friend of mine, and he starts talking about that tubby guy, and next thing you know, it's all, and I'm mad at myself, but for the most part, I have fucking cut them off, and we're just being as stupid as ever on In Hot Water.
I will say this. I've been watching In Hot Water regularly, and you will...
And I apologize for that. It's like a fucking sore. You're like, I got to watch again, see what this dummy does. I know, but please, go on.
It's like watching 37-year-old Mike Tyson. You're like, one of these rounds, that punch is coming. I just fucking know it is. I'll watch him eat the jabs. I'll watch it, because that right hand is coming at some point. But anyway, I've been watching, and... It pains me. It does. It pains me not to watch the show. It pains me to watch you and Bob and Kevin. The guys on Twitter, I think, are irrelevant. They're whatever. They're just guys on Twitter. That's what they're That's what they're there for.
Yep,
they're simply white noise, which is the best color noise. We were talking about that off air, weren't we, April? We don't have time for the color. No, anyway,
that's funny. We were talking about it on air. So anyway.
Got to catch the whole show.
Yeah, you got to catch the whole show. It gets...
yeah, I slept in. I'm sorry.
It gets bad. But, to watch... Because we had Bob on last week, and Bob is a very funny kind of elder statesman of comedy. You look up to Bob and everything. And, Kevin brought us up on Misery Loves Company yesterday. He likes what we do, and he was busting Chad Zumach's balls about it because we rip into Chad so hard. And... I'm watching that, and I'm like, I feel bad. I like Geno. I like Bob. I like Kevin. How can we fix this? I watch Kumia's show when he's got those two on, and I get it. I get it. Kevin goes hard on you every time you're good. And they're deep digs, man. You're going to be homeless. Yeah. They're like livelihood type shit.
It's kind of like Redbar type stuff.
Well, Kevin's a little more talented than Redbar.
The people that actually live in this apartment are back in 20 minutes, so let's speed it up.
All right, I'm sorry. Well, what I'm saying is...
I'm kidding. I'm saying I'm homeless. Go on.
How do we get this... Is there any way... Like, you and Kevin could do a show together now. I don't think he's going to hit you. I don't think you're going to hit him. No. You guys could sit down and you could hammer this out, because I feel like in your guys' history, oddly enough, you've been here before.
Yep.
Kevin hates everybody. That's why when he talked about our show and he didn't say anything good, but he didn't say anything bad, I felt like that was a compliment. But he hates everybody, and now you seem to be the target he's fixated on now. Will time heal this? Because you're all so much fun to watch and enjoy.
Aaron, watch this, and April as well. Watch this. Why is Kevin mad at me?
You gave out his phone number.
Yeah.
Why'd I give out his phone number?
I don't know. God damn it. You know what? I don't remember.
I do remember.
Wait, April thinks she's got it. April thinks she's got it.
There was some sort of...
Okay, April for the win.
Was there some sort of criticism about a comedy show? Was that where this started?
Nope.
Really?
That's part of their drama. But watch this. Close.
Okay.
Bob Levy, I love Bob Levy. He's a brilliant comedian, but every 15 years he starts to book a comedy room, which is a mistake, okay? Because Bob's stressed out and he's too funny to worry about the business aspect of it. And the last time he did it, it fucking petered out after a couple of years. So this year, when he does it, it's like the only thing to make Bob less stressed would be if he got a laid-back partner. Now, who's the most laid-back partner? Yeah, exactly. So it's Brennan. And they do the first show and the second show, since it's in Vineland, New Jersey, which is if you don't know where Vineland, New Jersey is, you go to the end of the universe and make a left. That's where I was born and raised. And so the week before I do the second show, I'm like, I'm talking about it's the Phillies are in the fucking World Series run, and I don't even want to talk sports because I can hear you're sitting on that Vikings thing. Go fuck yourself. But
I wish I had the horn. I wish I had the horn.
Yeah.
Get me my get me my helmet. I got to show you. You brought it up. Keep that train of thought because we're both the same way. We'll run off into 18 different directions. I got to show.
Question for April. Well, I have a question for April. When fucking Josh Allen fumbled that when Josh Allen fumbled that snap, did he yell "fuck Geno" louder than I yelled "fuck Aaron"? Because I could not believe that play.
Check this shit out. She was hunting. I was home. Drinking with my dog and texting my buddy back and forth, and the amount of horrific slurs that were used back and forth during that game, both in celebration and anger, should be in a Vikings museum somewhere to document that game.
I'm a Chargers fan, and it's a nightmare, and they need to fire their head coach. But I've said this, and you'll agree. I'm like, I live amongst Jets fans, and you think terrible plays only happen to you. And watch this. As a Vikings fan, let me say this. Brett Favre just run 5 yards out of bounds and you kick the field goal against the Saints. And you're like, that doesn't happen to anybody else. The Chargers last week fumbled away. All they had to do was have Eckler, their best running back, who's a stud, run 3 yards with 40 seconds left against the Falcons, fucking run the clock down to 10. He fumbled it. He fumbled the ball away. The linebacker for the fucking Falcons picked it up, ran 40 yards, fumbled it without being touched. Chargers got it back, won the game. That doesn't happen unless you watch every game. And I'm sure fucking Bills fans right now are like, that's never happened to any other team. But it does.
Yeah.
It's incredible that happens. But I'll say it. It's like, you can't say, I will not say the Vikings got lucky and I'm not fucking kissing your ass. It's like, it's just a part of the game.
Yep.
And it's amazing how the second you make one fucking mental mistake, these are fucking pros and they make you fucking remember. It was an incredible win. Fuck you.
You're gonna take back what you said about old Kirk?
Uh-oh.
Come on, baby. He's for real.
Uh-oh.
He's for real. He just needed a coach who believed in him.
Come on.
He just
Excuse me 1 minute. There's somebody at the door. Fuck you. Fuck you, Kirk Cousins. Fuck you. Oh, sorry. It's the wrong number.
It's Kirk O'Chains now.
It's now Kirk
I said
O'Chains.
it when we first talked. I will be. If Kirk Cousins wins the Super Bowl, there are two people, you and my buddy, and I will fucking be thrilled to. I see the hat, Aaron. I will be thrilled to be wrong. I will. I'll tell you someone else that I wasn't wrong about, but 8 years ago, I would always say to people, they're like, Geno Smith is the man. I'm like, I want to be wrong, but he's a terrible QB. He's fucking staying out of the way of the fucking Seahawks. And I sit there when he does well. Oh, I had a joke in my football video that you'll love. I said, Geno Smith did in 10 years what it only took me 3 years to do, get everyone to stop laughing at him. And I thought that really underscored it. But yeah, I mean, that's football. And yeah, like you need a fucking break like that to fucking win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys have the same record as the Eagles now.
Yep.
So there you go.
Thank God.
You're the best team in the NFC.
All right, cool. So that was my tangent that I sent us off on. So now back to what you were saying. Why did you end
up?
up?
You ever seen a bitch called Wanda?
Why,
I'm so very. Fuck you! I'm sorry.
Why did you end up giving out Kevin Brennan's phone number? Which I will admit, because I like all of you guys, so I can tell you as a friend, I did feel when I was watching that was a move that shouldn't have been made. Not that you apologizing for it would have helped. But
no.
It was a move that maybe set some bad things in motion. So you defend yourself now by telling us why you made that move, because we forgot.
So what? So you're saying I didn't apologize?
I know there was controvery about the apology too. You texted, you didn't text. You did.
What was the controversy? And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm trying to say, like, it's all lies, and every single thing. Like when people are like, oh, the common thread between Aaron and Chad and Pat and fucking Brennan is Geno. No, the common thread is Geno pushing back. Do you understand? When Aaron left and we got the facelift, not the Pat Dixon facelift, rather than just say, I want out, and we would have had his back, fucking nothing. He tried to make it look like he had to leave because I'm a racist and all that. It's like, just say you want out. So I pushed back and said, no, that didn't happen. And he got angry. Without getting too tangential, since you put that word in my head.
We were going to ask you about the Berg thing anyway, so you feel free.
Yeah, But watch this. But I'm telling you, I'm not trying to make you look dumb. I'm trying to say, like, fucking, if you listen to Kevin Brennan, all he does is lie. If you listen to his podcast 2 weeks ago, he's like, Geno punched a cop at that show. It's like none of it.
I don't see you punching anyone.
I've seen you get punched.
Took it standing like a man.
My point is this. I can tell you exactly what led to every one of these incidents, and it's just me pushing back. Here's why. Kevin Brennan was on. This goes to, watch this. I'll do it as quickly and clearly as possible. The second week of Bob Levy and Kevin's room, I'm on the Boss's show joking around, and because he's believing the narrative that I scream the N-word on stage, and I don't, but because you believe that narrative and I don't push back, everyone in New York thinks it, and I don't care because I know what my act is, and anyone that saw us in Orlando at Content House, anyone that saw me this past weekend at the Cognitive Dissidence Tour knows, like, I talk about, I say that it's like in hot water. I will say this. The thing I love about getting through that bullshit lockdown is I did in hot water every day. And I've realized now, whether I'm behind a microphone at my desk or behind a microphone on stage, I'm the same guy. I want everyone to fucking laugh, and I don't care how we get there. And I say the dumbest stuff in the most brilliant way, or maybe the most brilliant stuff in the dumbest way, and that's in hot water. You've seen it. So when Dixon is screaming this, the boss is busting his balls. He's like, Gene won't do it. I'm like, no, but I don't. Right? So fast forward to the show. It goes fine, especially since, the Phillies are fucking in a playoff run that they do every fucking 15 years. And the show goes great. But then a week later, Kevin Brennan fills in for the boss, or I don't know the exact timeline, but when Kevin Brennan fills in for the boss, he gives out Mike Calta's number. He gives it out on the end. Okay. Did you know that?
Nope.
Yeah, you did. You did mention that. I don't know why he did that.
Okay. I didn't care because I watched Kevin and Levy on the Boss's show, and it is fucking hysterical.
It's fun.
So I'm watching it, and I don't think anything of it. A week later, somebody calls into our show on a Thursday and says, is Kevin Brennan's number still blah, blah, blah? It'd be funny if I said it, but I don't know it. So he goes, is Kevin Brennan's number, right? So he goes, is Kevin Brennan's number still this? And I go, you can imagine, I'm like, I guess, I don't know. And I fucking hang up, and we go back to the wacky, insane brilliance. And fast forward to an hour later, he's on the Boss's show, and he goes, yeah, Geno gave out my number on his show, but I don't care because no one watches that show, and I laugh at that too, right? Okay. So now, fast forward to Sunday.
Oh, boy.
I'm outside jumping rope as I do to blow off steam.
That's really gay, by the way. That's a gay thing to do.
It's a good workout, though, right, Geno?
Very. So I get a message from Kevin Brennan that says, because whenever the show's done, like one time I called Kevin on his cell phone, and he goes, you've reached whatever the number, and Garrett fucking bleeped it out before, so no one could see it. So Friday I get a message from Kevin Brennan saying, you didn't delete my number from that call on the air. And he says, you really are and I'm going to say the N-word so I don't say the sentence because it's the most racist. The reason I fucking make fun of the Holocaust, I shouldn't even I make jokes about the Holocaust, and I make jokes about the N-word is to disarm it, and we all want to disarm N-words, but it's because it's easy.
I knew I liked this guy.
It's easy to laugh at what's funny, so I try and make jokes so you can laugh in the face of these terrible things, because when I was a kid growing up on a farm in South Jersey, you heard fucking old Sicilian people say it all the time, and I was 8, and I'm like, ooh, that's not. So I make fun of that word and don't use it in a mean way. As much as people bitch, try and find one text, one fucking hot mic, one anything of me saying that word in a mean, derogatory way, okay? Right. But when you send a text to someone personally and say, you left this on, you really are I'm like, and I just screenshot, I write back to him immediately. I say, Kevin, thanks for the screen grab, as though I were going to post it.
Right.
And he loses his mind. He's like, fuck you. And I will send you the screenshots later. And I write, and I say, Kevin, look, I'm really sorry. Garrett usually takes it down. I'll check with him. And he writes back, no, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And I write again, look, I really apologize. I wrote the word apologize 3 times in the text. He wouldn't let it go. So then I go on the air Monday, and I get so worked up. I get a little fucking, carried away.
From time to time.
It happens.
Yeah. And I give it out several times, but not only do I give out his number, I give out my number, 646-369-6564. So I take his fucking, and I didn't realize I did it. And I'll say this, I've said it on the show every day, smartest thing I ever did. Because I spend my mornings having smoking a cigar, drinking coffee with little Six, who's still in her styrofoam thing, responding to human beings, flesh and blood people. And they send me pictures of their pets. We now have that skit on the show. I'm sure you've seen it, where we do Geno's pet of the day, and they'll take an adorable picture of a pet and put a cock on it. Really?
Sure.
Oh, it's fucking wholesome.
I need to ask you. When you got,
I'll inhale and breathe now. You go.
When you got, quote, carried away, and you gave out the number and you gave out your number. Yes. Do you not see how maybe in Kevin, who is he seems to be, from what I've watched, an angry guy. Do you see how maybe he might not see that as exactly the definition of de-escalation?
But do you understand? Had he just, and by the way, that goes on to fucking when he's on the Boss's show and I'm trying to hug it out and he's like, I'm going to fucking break your jaw. I'm like, here's the other thing. When he wanted to kill me and he wasn't going to hit me, when he wanted to, when him and Bob Levy were doing their full-on pro wrestling shtick, the reason he trashed the studio, and you can go back and watch this, everything I say is rooted in, what's the word I'm looking for? Facts. There's another one, actuality. Both times he did it, I threatened to show screen grabs of what he texted me. I said, would you like to see the apology? So I'm sorry that I'm smarter than these people. And I'm good at what I'm doing, made for good radio. Watch this. What should I have done? Because he was already lost.
Do you think that maybe, and I'm
going to say no, but
I'm the youngest guy by 20, 30 years out of the three of us here, not April, I mean Kevin. Sure. So it feels weird.
We're not dating. Let it go. We're not dating, Aaron. Let it go.
It feels weird that I'm saying this because I feel like a parent. Do you think that maybe you should go this way and he should go that way, and maybe Geno and Kevin just shouldn't interact or mention each other?
No more playing together.
Yeah, you guys can't play nice in the sandbox. Maybe we move you to different parks.
But am I wrong to say this? It would not even have been in my head if he didn't fucking give out someone else's number, act like it wasn't a big deal. Kevin's mad at me because I beat him at his own stupid game. And Gavin McGinnis said it perfectly.
Uh-oh.
We're all in. Watch this. I'm going to ask you something. Has anyone ever given out your number, Aaron? Because I can do it right now. Has it?
I think, yeah. My chat, back in the radio days, our chat, when we simulcasted on Twitch, our chat would put my number in the chat on a pretty regular basis.
I've never had my number
said it perfectly. Fucking, that's part of the biz. Like, when they give your number out, it lasts 2 days. You let it go. You man up. You can and I said this when I was losing my mind. I'm like, I used to do the Kid Chris show with Bob Levy, and in 2005, they gave out my number when you had a landline, and you'd answer every call because you think that girl was fucking calling to take you back, and she didn't, and you blew it, Rita, but you had a landline back then, and you had to answer your phone. There was no such thing as text messaging, but now, when someone has your number, if you don't want to answer the call, you don't have to. There's a setting where you can ignore numbers that fucking aren't saved in your phone. You can get a text and ignore it, so it's not a big deal. And Gavin said it perfectly. It's 2022. It goes away in 2 days. But he has to hold on to this because he needs to be a victim. That's all there is. And he's still mad about that. And to underscore my point, that's what led to it. And I apologized on air. I offered to hug it out with him. He just wants to be angry. So again, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, yeah, I'm right. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, but do you understand there's a reason that I had to take 10 minutes to explain exactly what happened. And when I asked each of you, you're like, well, you kind of, and I'm not busting your balls, but that's what the idiots believe. You understand? That's all there is to it.
But now I did feel I'm becoming too much of a fan of all these shows as I'm interviewing these people at the same time.
And I say it every day. Mr. Love's Company is hilarious, even when he's not talking about me, which was, it's been 10 straight episodes.
I will give you this. I will give you this. Kevin is, I would say this about him, and I would say, I'll give my diagnosis of you next. But Kevin's thing, I will say first, he is going way too deep into the Geno. It's bothering him way too much. He's got to let it go. On your end, I would say these Twitter guys, like, I'll say the fat guy. I don't really have a beef with the fat guy, but I've watched his tweets, and I'm like, this guy's look, let me say, I'm going to respect your not wanting to say his name, but look, the limited interaction I've had with him on Twitter, he's been relatively reasonable to me, but I've watched some of his stuff he's written to other people, and he seems like a fan who's getting a little too close to the sun with a lot of these guys, and he kind of feels like he's part of the bit. But I want to tell you this. No, I want to tell you this. You can respond to this. I think maybe you should be a host who's kind of above all these people, and then they can live in that swamp, and you do In Hot Water, and then just fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. Yeah. I don't look at any of it.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say, April?
I don't look at any of that shit on Twitter ever.
But if you do watch, Aaron, if you look, the only time I've mentioned my beef with the fat man is going to be, and you can have this, it'll be like the next How I Met Your Mother. And it'll be called My Beef with the Fat Man. And you can just do episode after episode because I love that phrase. Aaron, go look at my Twitter. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say to anyone, but I don't respond to any of them on Twitter. I'm texting my fans in real life, and I don't mention them on the show with the exception of Thursday when I was dumb enough to let Levy on, and he's like, nah, he's a good guy. This, let me tell you my latest beef with Tubby, or however you say it. He literally, he lies. He said, I was at the show Saturday, Cognitive Dissidence. I walked outside and pointed at him and said, he's with Antifa. None of that happened. None of that happened. And now people are texting underneath it, I'm going to break his jaw. And it's like, you understand? He's good. And by the way, you want to play a fun drinking game? Because I said this about our fucking friend Redbar. You cannot spend 7 hours a day, any days a week, let alone multiple, just being toxic and vitriolic and not have that attached to your soul. And if you watch Kevin Brennan, here's a fun game to play. Drink every time he has a fucking nagging. I said nagging, people. He has a nagging call. Just drink every time because something's going on there. And I'm sorry that if you watch In Hot Water, which we do 4 days a week, 5 if you include Dumb Friday on our Patreon, we don't talk about them. We talk about the dumbest shit. Yesterday was such a fun free-for-all. We had a guy that flew across the pond from England to see the Cognitive Dissidents. We were in Long Island Saturday. I couldn't drink because it's such a long drive back. And I said, come to the studio Monday. Come drink with me Monday. Not only did he drink with me, I sent him out to get whiskey. He sat down at the desk and we just did this. We just fucked around like fucking the reason we do this. So I'm not giving them oxygen, but shit like this does. But I'm telling you, I think it underscores my point when I say to each of you, why is Kevin Brennan mad at me? You're like, was it? Is it? He just says all this insane shit. And the bottom line is, I'll say it again, I beat him in his own game.
I watched the show, and there was one moment yesterday where I went, oh, man, that really sucks. Why? I mean, do we have to ban Bob from the show? Because I'll tell you this. You said about the
I'm going to ask you your opinion on why I think I need to, but please go on.
Okay. I will, because of this. I think Bob...
I never said he was banned from the show, by the way. Go on.
Okay.
And I'm going to interrupt you again because it's what I do and tell you to go. I'm sorry.
All right. So with Bob, I feel like Bob he's 60 years old. He's seen it all. He doesn't want to be in beefs anymore. I've literally, every time I've been watching Bob lately, he likes everyone. He says okay to everyone. He's like Jim Carrey in Yes Man or whatever that movie is, where he says yes to everything.
That's Yes
Man.
Like
Bob... They tweet him and they like him. Even if it's shitting on you, he'll like it because they're saying something nice about him. He's having fun with Kumia. Kevin's shitting on you, and that's terrible and a little obsessive. But Bob's just there to laugh, and he feels like, I don't want to get involved. I can see where that would upset you because you're you're getting the shit beat out of you, and being ripped on by Kevin endlessly, and Bob's sitting right there. But I think it's fair to say, like, what's Bob supposed to do? Like say, oh, knock it off, guys. Like I don't know what Bob's role. I don't know what Bob's role in all this is.
I think
I don't either. But let me ask you each. Watch this. Let's say that so you and April do this show, and it's a great show. I'm telling you, like I watch it too now. Not all the time, but like I'll say it again. I'm watching it today, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm like, I'm supposed to call into this show.
Yeah.
And it's a fun show. It's an easy watch. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll tell you again, when we had the beef, the second time I'm watching. Two things fucking broke me, and I said, I'm not bothering these people. Because when you're like, it's radio, Gene, fucking relax. You yelled at it in the mic. I'm like, it is radio. I should fucking relax. And then you have this other guy, he texted me, I got to do his podcast, that fucking...
Oh, Jake Hudson, don't.
Oh, yeah.
Don't. You'll never
this?
Shake that son of a bitch.
Don't go there.
But you were nice enough to do it. So that's my point. But it's like, watch this. So you do this show every morning, right?
Yes.
Do you think it's good for your brand? And I would equate Bob with April because obviously we've only had sex once, like you this morning. But me and Bob are friends of 30 years. And I'll say this again. He is one of the most brilliant comics I know. I owe so much of how I got here to him. But do you think it's a good look for me? Do you think it'd be a good look for you if you do this show and then half an hour later, I'm sitting in that chair next to April, calling you an asshole, and she's not even fucking. And I get that it's comedy, but it's a bad look. It'd be one thing if it was a different show. It's that desk It's that microphone. And it's like,
that's interesting.
And I'm like, I can't have him on my show. That's all I said. And if you watch yesterday's show, I said, I'm like, Bob Levy is a brilliant comedian. He's a dear friend of mine, but I just can't have him on this show anymore. I didn't say Bob Levy is banned.
You're saying for you personally, for your own shit, can't have him on.
Because my show is my baby. And if fucking somebody doesn't like my fucking baby, not this stillborn abortion. If somebody doesn't like my baby, I'm not gonna, like, imagine if you guys fucking had a kid and fucking 1 minute, like, some guy goes like, yeah, your kid's stupid, and April just goes, yeah, you'd be like, April.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of stupid.
This isn't a good look for our kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now,
now I'm asking you, should I let him on? Should I let him sit at the desk? Like, I will support him. I follow him on Twitter. I like his tweets. I love the guy. I will never sit there and tell you he's not funny. And I will never sit there and tell you I'm still not watching MLC, patting myself on the back, laughing at the show. But it's not a good look to have a guy on my desk when fucking 30 minutes later, he's at that same desk, letting a guy lie about me. Say I'm not funny, say fucking I beat up cops, fucking say like lies about why he's mad at me. And Bob just goes, it's just not a good look. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not making anyone take sides. I'm just defending my show. Is that wrong?
I feel in my experience watching Bob on all these different shows, which they're all great and stuff, I don't think he's invested in any of it. I really don't. I don't think he's invested shitting on you or anything. But I think
that's what Geno's saying. He's like, it bothers, like the Kevin stuff obviously bothers Geno, as it should.
Defend a little maybe.
And he doesn't want to have a guy on who's going to not necessarily silently co-sign it, but also sit there while it's happening. He's not saying Bob's a bad guy for it. He's saying as a host, I get this on the host level. As a host, Geno would feel somewhat phony if he sat there next to Bob, laughing with him. If he knew Bob, it's like if I'm sitting next to you and then you're laughing along when you know some girl is going to come in here next and we're going to have a great time and fuck and all this other stuff. You wouldn't put up with that because you're like, well, wait a minute. I don't like what's going on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Geno.
I feel like you're asking her right now. You're like, you wouldn't put up with that, April.
That's how you broach these subjects.
Is it good for the show, though?
Yes. How is it for the show? But I mean, is that pretty?
See, because she cares about the kid.
Yes.
But let me pay you to a compliment that proves my point, of course, because I'm a dick.
Of course.
The other thing that's good about your show is, here's the word people love to use. It's not a work. Everything I say at my desk, people are either like, God, that's stupid funny, or God, that's stupid and not funny, or God, he's really trying to make a point, and then Garrett and Steve and Bobby from the booth shit on me. And everything I say, it's genuine. It's genuinely funny, genuinely stupid, genuinely an attempt at intelligence. It's genuine. Same thing with this show. I'm watching your show, and there's never a point where I go like, is that a dumb joke? Is that, we know. Like everything Bob is doing, he's like, it's just a work. It's just a joke. Like, I still get messages from people going like, is this a bit you and Kevin Brennan are doing? It's not a bit.
Right.
He's lost every bit of his senses. And that's another reason, like, it's not a good look for my show to have Bob on who wants to play these fucking games. I just got rid of fucking some dead weight that used to do that shit the last year when he was tapping the fucking brakes because he wanted out. So that's why, again, Bob Levy is a hilarious comedian. I can't get enough of the fucking guy. But I don't need someone that's fucking making my show look like I don't take it seriously.
So were you talking about him also yesterday when you said you wouldn't mention someone, or was that Jim Stansel?
I don't know.
There was someone else you said you wouldn't mention because they're playing pro wrestling shit.
No, Stansel, I busted his balls for doing pro wrestling shit.
Okay, because I know that Stansel and Bobby kind of got into it a little bit on your show last week, so I didn't know if that was a thing or something.
Well, no, see, but here's the thing. That's the other thing about Bobby. You can't talk to Bobby. And don't get me wrong, if I'm going to attack someone for being stubborn and set in their ways, I'm the asshole. But when Bob's like, nah, it's just that, it's like, Bob, you're not getting it, and that's fine. But Stansel was doing some pro wrestling shit, and we're having a beverage after the show. What are you, Mother Cabrini? You never touch this stuff? And I said to him, like, were you doing pro wrestling shit on my show? And if you say that to Bob, he's like, Stansel's all drunk. He goes, yeah, is that good? Is that bad? What do you think? And I'm just
Which one do you want me to say?
He's like, I'm like, you do whatever you want. He's like, yeah, see, because I threw them. I'm like, yeah, don't throw. It was insane, but that's the difference. Stansel will do pro wrestling shit, but he'll be on a thing like, woo, I'm a pro wrestler. You know, he's just the guy I have on every other Tuesday now, because like that's the other thing. There's so many people like you guys fucking are good at this because you fucking have fun. It's that seamless shit I talk about. There's people will just say Chad Zuma. There are some people who say Chad Zuma.
My favorite.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't think I broke Kevin Brennan Chad Zumach is back on his podcast. Okay, that's insane. But Chad Zumach's comedy, I'm sorry, it's not good. And you can say mine isn't good because I don't care because I have so much fucking fun on stage. But he's another one. It's like, what's he doing a podcast for? Well, I should do a podcast. Yeah. The opposite of that is people like, well, you've always been a radio, but the opposite is a guy like Stancil, who I'm like, I just stumbled into one time. He was in the studio fucking around with The Dump, the show before ours with Steve and fucking Bobby, which is so fucking great. And Garrett's fucking basically on that now, even though he just shows up to set up for our show. And fucking Stancil was on, and Stancil's another guy that's just, he's good behind a microphone. He didn't say, let me behind the microphone. You asked him, and he just talks. That guy fucking, literally, his name is Guy, that was on the show yesterday on In Hot Water, and I can't recommend enough. If you're going to watch one episode, take a peek at that. Because that's the show, okay? It's just fucking me rotating. We had fucking Guy, a guy that came up from England. We had Larry fucking Bay, a brilliant comedian who's on the East Coast. So we took him in. We had Rich Carucci, just a fucking old school fucking New York comic that fucking, he's one of those guys that just, you want to do his room. It's like, he books you for a room and you don't even ask for the money. It's just like, open bar, drink with you. Yeah. All right, just give me the money when I get there. Like, these are the people that are on, and they just have fun behind a mic. Chad has nothing to say behind a microphone other than, look at me, I'm on a microphone. Yeah. It's not good.
I don't think he knows how to have fun.
No, he doesn't know how to have fun. If you, Geno, I hate to suck my own show's dick, but if you want to go, if you want to go and watch our last couple of months of Chad Zumach shit, and then go watch him on Misery Loves Company yesterday, we've broken the man. And I'm taking credit for it. Yeah. I know Carl is a big part of it, but we kind of got the ball rolling a little while ago. We have broken him. He was shitting on Frank and Chrissy on MLC last night. And then Kevin goes, I was watching Steel Toe and I subscribed to him. He pops up all the time now. He's got this, what's this problem you have with him? Like you're a Steel Toe denier? Because he does that thing where he goes, oh, I don't know who they are, and then quotes back everything. we do. So he goes on about Frank and Chrissy for 2-3 minutes. As soon as Kevin and Bob start bringing up Steel Toe and talking about, it's a pretty good show. So they go, Chad, what's your beef with him? Chad immediately makes a side joke that changes the subject, and I'm like, we got him. I'm like, we got him. We fucking got him. Shaken. This is great. And then he starts doing that tremor shake that he does. I loved it. Yeah. Loved it.
But here's the thing, and I mean this, like, this is going to be a compliment, but it's just a statement of fact. Like, you just, like, this is, you get to do this. You guys show up, and you're genuinely enjoying it, and I like that we're the kind of people who are like, we were fucking fighting with each other, and the universe like, no, you're going to like this show, and it fucking just, I always say this, we're the sum of everything that put us right here. Me fucking smoking this cigar like a chronic fucking whatever, you guys, and everything, I wouldn't change a fucking thing that put us here because you have a better appreciation for it. It's like that book, The Prophet. The more fucking sorrow carves into your being, it hollows it out so you can contain more joy. And he said it much more eloquently. It's a poem, but it's true. And other people hold on to this shit, and it's not moving them forward. And I will say that about Bob, and I mean this as a friend. You said it, April. He's like, he's just cottoning to everything, saying, I'm here, I'm hanging on to. It's like, what do you want out of this? Like, I am, as much as like people think I'm just fucking, I don't know what I'm doing. It is. I say it all the time, and feel free to call me gay. It is that song, Sarah McLachlan's Building a Mystery.
You're gay! Oh, sorry.
Thank you. You're right. Please, all the fans yelled it. But there's a line, you're building a mystery and choosing it so carefully. And everything I'm doing put me here, and I enjoy it every day. And I do every fucking single show, not saying, what am I going to do next week? Or I sure hope I'm doing this next week. Every single show I show up and I'm like, are you fucking with me? Am I getting away with this? Did I get to fucking hang out, fucking tell jokes, be stupid with people I like, drink with my friends, have people fly across the fucking ocean to see me tell dick jokes? Like every day it's like that. And I just have faith it will be tomorrow.
I've got 15 minutes with you, and I got 2 more things I need to ask you about here. First, $9.99 from David. He says, if you dip your toe in the river of inequity, the opposite of love is a broken jaw. Geno, that guy gets it. But I got it.
That is if you dip your toe in the river of iniquity, soon you put your leg in it, your whole foot, and you drown in it. So you don't give in to temptation. But the other thing, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Okay, this is not the one I was going to ask you about, but this is just a simple yes or no, because I got to kind of go rapid fire here because we both talk a lot.
All right, I'll shut up. Sorry.
Pat Dixon and you are cool?
We're cool.
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and I love telling this story. Like, talk about breaking someone. Like, I was like, I'm full. I always say, I don't want to be full of shit. And I'm not kidding. after Dixon punched me, fucking, I missed 8 weeks of eating. So I went to the gym. I got in great shape. Fucking the whole reason I'm with Keanu is because she saw a video of it. And we've been hooking up. This is why it works. We've been hooking up off and on for years. She saw the video. And the face she made, I went in the next day and I showed Garrett, the producer, and I'm like, this girl likes me. And he's like, you're dumb. She's always liked you. So I got her out of it. I've got a new appreciation for the show. Aww. And if I stay mad at fucking anyone, whether they broke my jaw or gave me $1 million, if I'm mad at someone that put me in a better place, I'm full of shit. Mm-hmm. And it dawned on me when I got really drunk with my buddy Marshall and I sent a fucking mean text to him, like, and it was just all, it was like, it's like, hey, let me know if your girlfriend needs any more dick pics and stuff, which I never sent, but I'm drunk. And he just writes back, you doing okay, buddy?
So,
yeah. So I'm not mad. Don't get me wrong. He committed felony assault. And if he wants to fucking atone for his actions, he should come to New York, go to the cops, fucking not pay bail, and fucking just let it be gone because this city is a piece of shit. But he doesn't. So that's on him. I'm not saying he doesn't have to face the judgment, but I'm not mad at him because he made my life better.
Do you see though?
And I'll say again, the funniest one of my favorite jokes ever is Pat Dixon, and he goes, do you ever hear this? It's like, if it weren't for porn, I wouldn't know how to spell amateur. Okay, that's a brilliant fucking joke.
It's a good joke. But do you not see that where maybe you're throwing the last fuck you in there when you're like, Pat Dixon and I are cool. He should go to the police and atone for what he said. No, leave it at we're cool. Leave it there. It's good.
So you're saying a guy should break someone's jaw and just be like, it was a learning experience. No, because we will not be punished for our anger. We'll be punished by our anger. And I'll say this, I'm cool with Pat, but Pat really has anger issues and he's abusing Adderall. I don't think he is now. I hope he is now. But he was during the lockdown. He got into it. And that's what led to that. And you can yell at me for saying that, but look at me. I'm not like, I honestly think that. And I think you know.
So maybe we've come to this solution. People with anger issues shouldn't be around Geno Bisconte.
There's never any justice.
Okay.
It's that, yeah, because I'm going to poke.
Yes.
Whenever someone says, don't do this, I'm like, or I could do exactly what you told me not to do and see what happens.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
So I have an audience that has quite a few people who moved from Redbar over to this show. I think we were seen as like a happier, less angry kind of like when we make fun of people, it's just we're watching them from outside, poking a little fun, having a good time, not getting so invested. They would crucify me if I didn't ask you about Redbar. And you got a chance, I guess, to turn some of them, I suppose, because they've got those glasses on. That whole thing. How did it affect you, all the Redbar stuff? How do you feel about it now? I know how you feel about him being sick. It's how a lot of people feel about it is, it's kind of karma or the energy he put out there coming back to him, whatever. Yep. But how did all the Redbar stuff make you feel? What did you think of it, and where are you at with it now?
If you look back at the earlier episodes, the whole beef started with us because him and his fans, and we've been doing In Hot Water for maybe, okay? And me and Aaron, we're loyal. Me and Aaron, he shit on the boss, so we went after him, and that brought us into it. So this is my first foray into Twitter and trolls and all that stuff, and I really fucking got sucked in, and I went after him. But now, you can see, I have if the guy wants to do a show like that, that's great for him. But it's what I've said, I have no problem with Redbar. I don't. In fact, when Pat Dixon broke my jaw, he texted me on one of my Instagram things. He's like, hey, Geno, what do you have to say about Pat Dixon breaking your jaw? And I just responded, ouchie. And he said it on the air. He's like, I got to give him that. Yeah. So he can do what he wants to do. But I'm telling you, there's a reason that I look younger than 53, 52. But 53 is older than 50. Because if you love what you do, people always say, and I'm not fucking blowing my own horn because I'm trying to get a point across. People are like, you don't look 53. I said, when I was 27, I looked 53. I had a job at a bank. I was living in Delaware. I hated what I was doing, but if you love what you do, look, it's a fact. We're all energy, okay? And I'm not trying to sell you a Dianetics book, but it's a fact of the universe. Like energy attracts like energy. Atoms that are similar fucking attract. And when you fucking wake up every day doing things you like doing, the universe says, let's give him more things he likes doing. If you wake up every day living in lack saying, I need more shit, the universe is like, let's give him more shit that he needs. And when you wake up every day doing a podcast, 7 hours, just shitting on other people. I couldn't tell you a thing about Mike Redbar. Does anyone know anything about Mike Redbar? He never talks about himself. He shits on the podcast, and that's a great model. No one else is doing it, but it's going to make you sick.
You can't get through the you can't get through the gimmick.
Yeah. And that's what I think of Redbar. I think he's doing great. He's got a new studio. He's got to be doing well. And I said this when he took that year off. I said, I hope he's sick, because I'd rather he's sick. No, let me say this. I'd rather he's sick and taking time to get better than he's fine, just wants a year off, and he lied about being sick. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He looks
I was right. He's sick.
He looks quite sick. He looks pretty sick.
And I never mention Redbar, other than the passing digs that, I can't help but not do. But the guy is fucking making himself sick. I'm sorry. He does 7 hours of hate. Mm-hmm. And that's fine if people like it. But shout out to Luis J. Gomez, who said to me 2 months ago, and he's like, stop worrying about Twitter. He's like, I have thousands of fans on Twitter, and half of them want to see me rip out the throat of Zach and Aaron or whatever. They want to see us fight because they're jackals, and he's right. And that's, I would argue, that's 90% of Redbar's fan base, and that's fine. But I'm going to say again, you see our show, I see your show. It's just you fucking around having a good time, and it's really fucking fun to watch. And what's better than that? If you're going out of your way to watch and I'll say it, I watch Misery Loves Company, and it's miserable and it's hysterical, but it's that's never what I wanted to do. I'm not good at it, That's all. That's my thoughts on Redbar. I wish him well, but that's all.
Citizen M with $4.99. He's one of the big Redbar guys on our show. He says, if Redbar offered to pick up your show, would you be willing to rebrand as No Dough Geno Insolvent Water?
Well, I am flat broke, but no, because there's a thing called loyalty. That's why, for all this shit, fucking people get Geno's a drunk. I've never missed a fucking show. When we went to 9 a.m, fucking for 2 years, I was like, Geno's fucked the way he drink. No, never missed a show, because I'm so loyal to Kumi. He's been so good to me, and that's exactly. Some people just don't understand what loyalty is, and it's a sin. But it's easy to be loyal to people that are good to you, and some people don't get that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's another thing that bothers me about Bob. He's loyal, but I don't see it like that. I'm not saying he's being disloyal, but that's how I'm taking it, and that's why I'm like, you can't be at my desk right now. You can't. Right. And let the record show, the first time I ever missed a show, because I had to do some film down in Delaware, quit bragging, somebody's doing well.
Humble brags.
Bob Levy, I made sure to make him be the host, which led to the Pat Dixon beat, because that's when Pat invited himself on the show, fucking said creepy things to Keanu before we were dating, and bumped one of my guests because he's an insecure psycho. We're fine, Pat.
God damn it.
Which is clearly why you had his ex on. I hear
my mouth getting ahead of me, and I can't stop. Well, you should have stopped it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, I was going to have us mutually fangirl out over your boss, over Kumia, who, after years and years of idolizing the man, I not only got a retweet, but an acknowledgement from him that he laughed his fucking ass off at one of our clips on our show. And I have to say, as a guy who grew up watching Opie and Anthony, has said many times on this show wouldn't be here. It's directly influenced by the Opie and Anthony show. To have that guy have just, not even vocally, but laughy face emojis all over a retweet of something you did, that's fucking crazy. So for you, I can't imagine how that must feel if you're an Anthony Cumia guy, to have him actually laugh at shit you say.
Yeah.
We grew up, me and my buddy Dan down in Delaware, I don't mean to brag, used to do a trivia show 3 days a week. And one was on a Tuesday. We'd drive down to the beach in Delaware. 2 hours we'd be listening. We were listening to fucking The Boss when the Sex for Sam thing went down, and we were dying, and I'm good friends with Norton. We go way back. But it's now I talk to Dave, you're buddies with the guy. Yeah. And by the way, I love how all the friends Geno's just his drinking buddy. I drink with The Boss maybe 3 days a week for 3 fucking minutes at Sullivan's. Yeah. And whenever we go out drinking, maybe once a month, I'll be at Sullivan's still at 8 o'clock after shit, and we'll drink. But I barely get to hang out with the guy other than when I'm fucking bothering him in the studio and shit like that. Yeah. But it's it's because I consider us very good friends, but he's a busy dude. Yeah. I don't want to fucking bother the guy, but when it's still I consider him a very good friend, but there's still that when you're talking to him, you're wow, fucking look at what you did, Geno. It's fucking great. So I'm right there with you. Yeah. He's such a genuinely generous, nice guy. And all these people have these fucking things to say about it. It's he's just a regular dude. He wants to have a drink, hang out with his girl, play fucking video games, scream the N-word in his apartment during Call of Duty. What we all hunt Jews. What we all do.
Well, I will say this. I may have yelled a few choice phrases during that hectic Vikings-Bills game this weekend, so I'm not going to judge anyone. Actually, when Patrick Peterson made that pick in the end zone, I've been so scarred as a Viking fan that as soon as he ran it out, I yelled, "Get the fuck down, you fucking gay F word." And I just shouted it at my television because I'm so used to something bad happening there that's how I ended that experience. But
it's a nightmare being a Vikings fan as well, I'm sure. But good luck. Like I'm telling you, like Cousins aside, like I fucking follow him now. I'm a huge Bills fan because have you checked with Carl? Is he alive?
I haven't. I should have shot. I forgot to shoot Carl a text during the Vikings game because I was so worried we weren't going to
himself. So you don't need to shoot him a text, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's probably not doing so well. But now you gave me an idea for harassment later on today. That's good.
Nice.
We're completely out of time. I'll just throw this at you real quick. It's the last thing on my list we didn't get to. Aaron Berg, you guys obviously not doing In Hot Water together anymore. He went to Gas Digital. That could have ended differently, I felt like. It felt like it was one guy who had a great opportunity, and he wanted to take it. A lot of teams have broken up that way. But it seems like it got a lot more personal than that.
It got personal because I honestly think he just wasn't. Look, the bottom line is, in my opinion, he wanted out. He wanted to get out from behind the paywall. He wants to be more mainstream. He still is as edgy as fuck.
Yeah. And
I hate saying edgy because that's such a gay word, but you know what I mean? He fucking definitely pushes back, but he wanted to get out in front of the paywall, and he thought, and I just didn't, his dismount was terrible. To quote, you ready for this? Bob Levy said it perfectly on fucking Kevin Brennan's Misery Loves Company podcast when he fucking announced he was leaving. And he's like, "I'm leaving in a month." And Bob Levy said, "That's like when you break up with a girl. That's a long walk to the door."
Yeah.
And he did a lot of shit in that month, in my opinion, to try on Twitter to get people to be like, "Oh, please stay," and all this other stuff. And I've talked about it on the air. I'm not going to get it. It was just the way he left that made it messy. And there's a lot of fucking, scars that fucking aren't going to heal properly. But let me tell you, you follow me on Twitter. I still follow him. You'll never see me badmouth him. Fucking, I retweet a lot of his shit. Well, I retweet some of his shit. I don't want to fucking, retweet it and have people be like, but he's doing really well.
Yeah.
And he's so close, knock wood, to getting like this thing that he mentioned once. And when he does, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it was a terrible dismount. That's all it was.
Gotcha.
And look, the cream rises to the top, and I'm doing great at fucking Compound Media, and he's doing great fucking at Gas Digital and touring with, what's his tour called? Offend Everyone with Luis J. Gomez.
Yeah.
And he's loving it. So if he's happy, that's great. And the other thing was, in his defense, he wasn't coming into the studio a lot because he got a house in New Jersey with his wife, his fucking beautiful wife and daughter. And it's one thing to have to leave them in the middle of the day and go through Lincoln Tunnel traffic and go back, then to have to come back into the city at night. And he just chose spots in comedy over coming in twice. And I get that. He should have. Like I said this, simply put, he's a fucking comedian who fucking was doing a podcast. I've become a fucking guy who hosts a show that also can do comedy. Yeah. And I love it.
I watched his announcement, that awkward episode that you guys had. It's up on YouTube. I watched it back when you and I were going at each other. And I was like, yeah, fucking get him, Berg. And I watched it again this past weekend. And I went, oh, that's kind of shitty. I went like, you're kind of piling on things that don't really seem like they're part of this conversation. And it kind of, after, speaking to you and not having the bias that I had the last time, I went, oh, that you're saying things that aren't part of the deal. And that gross. It's just, you're kind of giving yourself an out when you just could say, hey, I got to, it wouldn't be the first time someone got a great job offer and took it.
No, and like, again, to prove both of our points, look at how I am with Levy. I'm to a fault forgiving. You know what I mean? Like, and I said this about Pat. If Pat, after he punched me and I stood there like he hit me and I never went down, fucking swallowed that.
You got saved by the bar, Bisconte. You got saved by the bar. No.
He's a man. Come on.
Ironically, the bar made out of redwood, a red bar.
Tell that to Janae Rice and the bar in the elevator. Didn't save her. But my point is that if Pat takes it, and I honestly believe this, you don't have to, but I know me. If I looked at him and said, if he didn't just leave, and I said, what the fuck was that? And he's like, dude, and I'm sorry. If he said, dude, I fucking, I really messed up on this Adderall. I'm sorry. I'm sure I would have hugged him and said, dude, we got to fucking, I would have. I'm forgiving to a fault. And when Aaron fucking just said, he tried to make it completely about me, I fucking responded like I always do. I fucking pushed back immediately. I'm like, the fuck? Like, he's like, and then we'll see. Then we'll see what we're doing after a month. I'm like, I'll show you what you'll see. You'll see me at this fucking desk. I worked 30 years to get here. Yeah. 30 years. I'm not going to fucking, because you don't want to do it anymore. You're free to leave. But that was how maybe we both overreacted, and it was a bad dismount. But again, we're the sum of everything that put us here, and we're both doing great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I tell you what, man, we are right up against your heart out, Mr. fucking Showbiz. And we will.
Those dick jokes aren't going to tell themselves. I don't need to tell you two.
Look, it's not like you're letting Conti go a little longer every fucking day anyway. So anyway, in hot water, Geno Bisconte, there's the link in the chat, compoundmedia.com. Go there, follow Geno on Twitter, and Gum Fridays on Patreon also, which is doing very well. So go check all of that stuff out. Again, Geno Bisconte. I'm glad we did what we did at Content House. I'm glad we did this today.
Absolutely.
And we'll be glad to have you back on some other time too.
Shoot me an email. We'll get you to Skype into our silly little show, you two.
I'm a fucking whore. I'll do it anytime.
That'd be sweet.
You kidding?
Did you say that or never mind?
Yeah.
All right, so have a great one, guys. Thanks for having me.
people.
You too.
Thank you.
See you later. Geno Bisconte, ladies and gentlemen. Again, compoundmedia.com. There's the link in the chat. Well, guys, you got yourself a 5.5 hour show. How do you feel?